The night began with you making camp with a fireplace and your tents pitched, and nothing but the stars in the sky. But quickly, within 2 hours of pitching camp, all of a sudden, what was a balmy 60 degrees has plummeted to below freezing. The wind has picked up, tearing your tents apart, making it impossible to sleep. And then came the snow. The whiteout conditions quickly obscured your vision, stopping you from being able to see the trees at the edge of the clearing. The fire barely holding on as you put more and more logs on to get it roaring, your tents being torn apart by the torrent winds. And then, as if dealing with the weather wasn't enough, 2 arrows let loose from beyond your vision went sailing past your head. You saw the direction they came for, but for whom shot them, you didn't know. What started off with an evening pitching tent next to a fire turned into a horrific experience facing an enemy you did not know. Weather is something that can make D&D go from a normal, everyday two people fighting a battle, to a horrific experience, to actually pushing the players to actually solve solutions. Weather's not just done through the idea of taking care of the players for battle or causing problems, but it creates dynamic encounters and dynamic situations. So, 5 tips for using weather in D&D. Number 1, weather can change at any moment. See, the other day, I'm actually in Denver, Colorado, and from 4 o'clock, it was 61 degrees and beautiful out. The clouds were coming in over the horizon, but nothing too ominous. But by the time 6:30 rang, it was 10 degrees. Now, mind you, that is a massive swing, but in D&D and Dungeons & Dragons, who's to say that magic doesn't influence the weather as well? But the thing is, weather can change at any moment because we don't have weathermen in D&D. There are things you can give hints to, which we'll talk about later, but the bottom line is that allow weather to change, allow rainstorms to come in, allow thunderstorms to come in, allow fog to roll in. Those things can make encounters and make your engagement of the encounters, the combat, the situations that much greater, including overland travel and survival. Number 2, give hints for the weather changing. Allow the players to see giant clouds rolling over the top of mountains. Allow them to see or feel the silence of the animals as they buckle down for a storm that's coming in. There are hints that you can give your players that tell them that something is coming up and it can be weather related. Number 3, use high winds against your players and against your creatures. Allow gusts of wind to make your players make dex saving throws to see if they can stay on their feet. Have you ever been outside and had that wind hit you and you were prepared for it? Now, imagine carrying all of your equipment, wearing a cape, and fighting while being blasted by the wind. It adds something more to it. In addition, giving disadvantage on a lot of your ranged attacks because you do have that massive amount of wind. Wind is an amazing thing to make players close distance if they are normally at a distance. Number 4, fog and rain obscure vision, giving you partially obscured when it comes to hiding. It also gives you disadvantage on some perception checks. Fog and rain are an amazing thing. They also make the players uncomfortable, and you have to use descriptive language to let them know that they're drenching and soaking wet. That can also stop them from getting a long rest. That can actually push them to go finding shelter somewhere because the rain's coming down so hard. Even lightning possibly threatening the party, because that paladin that's clad in top to bottom plate mail makes for a mighty lightning rod in the midst of a weather storm. So fog and rain are also blue to feel used. Number 5, extreme weather is fantastic for overland travel and forcing your characters into shelter, into a tavern, making it so they aren't just camping under the sun. Because if you've ever been camping before and tried to pitch a tent while it's pouring down rain in 50-mile-an-hour wind, that's actually difficult. And a long rest isn't going to occur because you're not just going to be able to sit in your tent and actually enjoy it. It's going to be unpleasant. Also, dips and rises in temperature. We think about extreme weather going one direction, however, it can go the other as well. If normal your days fall between 60 and 75 degrees, imagine a day where the clouds disappear and the sun rises and beats down and the temperature rises to over 95 to 100 degrees. Now, mind you, this is a fantasy world, so you only have to kind of make the weather make sense. If most of your days are generally in that temperate climate, allow for the occasional dip or rise in those weather patterns. This can make for some interesting encounters as well as some interesting travel. So what are some of the things that you use to make weather interesting in your campaigns? Comment below, we'd love to hear them. In addition, make sure that you comment, make sure you subscribe, engage with our content so we can keep bringing you this every single day, as well as making sure that the content keeps rolling. And as always, check out our Patreon. Our podcasts are going to be launching this coming Friday by the time that this video launches. Again, thank you for coming in. I hope to see how you use weather in your campaigns below. I'm curious what you think. And we'll see you next time.